Wow, what?
I,
He's making a joke.
I don't understand the joke.
me and my Nagas
It's
just
sexual.
My
Oh,
Nagas, get it?
my Nagas. What's up, my Nagas?
Oh,
let me hang on.
goodness.
Maybe, let me clear this up. Hold on, I have a solution to this. Just a second. Hold on.
Me
Sit
and
here,
my
someone.
man, I hate those Nagas, man.
I'm gonna stream
Oh,
for like a minute just to not be a liar about all the messages I put out about us playing D&D for a minute here.
I mean these bastards.
Oh, those Nagas, not niggas. Gotcha.
Ah, you
Well,
said
she
it.
is black.
Well, anyway.
The Dark Naga.
For frick that, no, that's a different one. That one's lawful, I think. No, these are the spirit Nagas. They There was that picture of D&D art from the new book, with the orcs. Um,
Oh yeah, the Mexican orcs
yeah.
with their little
I
hats.
I don't particularly like it, if only because, like, I'm not, like, particularly possessive about what orcs are and cannot be. It's just kind of odd. Because,
Yeah.
like,
They've been imagined a bunch of different ways.
I don't know, it feels a bit weird to take away the survivalist element, because then they're just humans, but they look weird.
I like the Warhammer orcs. I like the Lord of the Rings orcs. The Wizardry series has like especially pig-like and pathetic orcs. I like those.
It's like, you don't have to make them dumb and stupid, but I also don't understand what... I mean, I guess as a singular interpretation, like, it's a good idea. That's fun. That's interesting. I just don't understand as like a primary one for your core book. This picture.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
But
But-
there are also...
But there's people that play half orcs, and there's people that want to play as orcs as well. So I mean, they're trying to make them like more, like they're less stereotyped as just an orc, just a horrible orc that's this evil thing that you can just kill outright.
They apparently did the teeth thing, the pointy hat fellow, where it's like, well, now that well, now they instead of their previous incarnation, where it's like everyone hates them and it's just a freaking edge fest, and the thing they were going to change it to, which is now they've proven themselves and everyone loves them. It's just, it's up to you, which is kind of the best way to do with that.
It just seems a little weird to me that you've got like a world with actual good and actual evil, and you run into somebody that's got like fangs, red skin, horns, a pointed tail. It's like, all right, this could be bad. Like, why would you trust somebody with those traits?
But it could also be like, well, we don't actually know if it... I mean, there's the frickin' mongrel men, and their whole thing is that they look like frickin' ugly bastards. But we don't... They're just chill. They're like... I mean, it's a fair thing to ask. Although, note, hang on, using my powers of D&D lore, did you know that Tieflings used to, like, not all look like Satan?
Yeah, it was a mutation where you could have some or none of the demonic traits.
I meant
Next
stuff
days
like...
of second edition Planescape.
I was thinking 3rd edition, where it was this chart, like, hey, you are related to a bone devil and you're all skinny.
Yeah,
that's...
that's...
was a Rakshasa.
There you
Now
go.
you have a tiger face, you know, stuff like that instead of just freaking Technicolor and horns.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they got rid of the lineages of all the devil types. Like they used to be a lot more diverse with like many more types than they have now.
I mean, you can still keep all those types if you want, like, if you want to specialize in whatever else, but, like, yeah. I like this new system. This new system is good. It's more fiendish representation instead of just 50 different flavors of Satan.
Yeah. I looked at some of the new rules that came out for the fighter classes and stuff. They get some cool new features. Are they actually going to call that D&D 6? They're probably not going to, huh?
Wait, hold on. What'd you say? I was sitting here typing to. Okay, I'm back. What?
Yeah, what are you asking?
There's like new rules out for like it's there. I don't think they're calling it the next edition. I don't think they're calling it 6, but they've got new rule sets for fighters.
They'll be out in like 2 months.
Yeah.
You're kidding me. You're
So
kidding.
like a bunch of channels on the internet that are all like talking about what the changes are.
Oh my
They're
gosh.
good changes. They're good changes.
Yeah,
Well, most.
A lot of them are pretty good.
Like,
I'm still not cool with 5e yet.
Right?
For example, druids can now talk in animal form, but you have to use the health of whatever form you're in, so you can't just keep spamming transformations to protect yourself.
Oh, okay. Look.
oh, I get it. So talking just lowers how long the transformation lasts. Like if you go to 0 HP, boom, now you're back to human. Got you.
Well, no, now you're in con. Well, it's like beating up a werewolf. In
I thought when druids reach 0 HP in animal form, they what's it called? Become what's it called? Just go back to normal regular form.
No,
Yeah, but
no,
it wasn't
you're
always that way. That's
using-
true.
You're using your actual health now. No more health disguises.
Oh man.
It makes them not tank so much. I mean, because 5e made them kind of tanky.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's why I wanted to play them.
Sure, it is. Because your actual health looks completely different from what it looks with whatever. You know the words I'm saying.
So one of the things I liked is they added this weapon mastery system where each weapon has like a special attack that you can learn. You get to choose 3 weapons and gain the weapon mastery on those.
I think that sounds good.
Oh, you made it a special tab, I see. About the thieves under my employ. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it was in your notes before, but it was not... Like, the format was different, so I moved it into a separate tab.
Okay.
I have noticed a bunch of dinguses complaining about the artwork of the 2024 stuff in general, and it's kind of like they made the elf fat, which I'm trying to find the picture, but I don't know if that's actually.
Yeah, it's something you don't see too often is a overweight elf.
Or a bulky. I need to actually find the picture, but like, they could be muscled and just wearing thick clothes. I'm not actually sure.
That's something I wonder about philosophically, about like the younger generation that cares about that sort of thing. Like, why would you want to be represented in a fantasy game where you can be anything? Like, wouldn't you want to be like the hottest elf that's ever existed? Wouldn't you want just like the most flawless features and the biggest perkiest tits? Like if you're gonna play an elf, wouldn't you want to be like an idealized perfect elf? Like, why would you want to be an
Ugly as shit.
like ugly as ugly as shit? Sure.
Not strictly, because there is charm in playing characters that there's freaking people who play characters who've been horribly scarred for one thing,
Yeah.
and also
Right. I mean, just look at D&D. I mean, no character has 18s for everything. So.
Not
there's-
yet.
why do
Well,
people want to
okay,
play freaking goblins?
But.
Well,
there-
even
that's
the
a fine
goblins they
example.
make cute.
That's-
Not always. Not. I mean, you have horrible looking. Shoot. I mean, even in like LARP, you've got people who play Nosferatu. I mean, okay. They're terrible looking and horrible to even be nearby, but they're still cool in other ways. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
I've played a chubby character before,
There was that
a chubby
what am I
girl.
thinking of? Where like the no, I lost her name. But never mind.
I just think it's weird. In a game where you can make yourself hotter,
Oh,
why
right,
wouldn't
no,
you?
No, sorry, I remembered just as you started talking.
What if you're
Uh,
already hot?
One of the people I host for, my cousin's boyfriend, they were making character at Baldur's Gate, and they're an elf, and it's like, why isn't this character look right? And then they went, hang on, I know the problem. and then they change it back to human, it doesn't look enough like me. Like
Yeah.
they cannot freaking bond with their character unless they look like themselves and freaking have their name. And it baffles me, but he's there.
Yeah, I usually end up making human characters, but a lot of times it's because variant human is just the best class.
Yeah, that was a change from third edition. Back in second edition, humans sucked.
That's one
They
of
were
the
the worst.
that's one of the changes they made. The rules now, like everybody is effectively a variant human.
I don't really want to do it, but yeah, it's a good point with what you just said there. But, like I don't particularly. That's not really how I design characters. Usually, it's something like. I'm trying to think of a good example. Like, I made a Githzerai ranger who's really good at killing those mind players, or like an elf who's a bit of the spore druid and a bit of the grave player. Like, my design philosophy just works different, I guess.
Sure.
So, one thing that I do want to look into for next week is the business with the Tyrian nobles. So we've got a lot of issue with Vildine Tirthani, Travalis Minther, and nobleman Turax.
Yeah, and Turax is the one that you
Turax-
really don't like.
Turax threatened me personally. He's got the big army, the
I don't
biggest.
think
of
he
the three.
really threatened you personally so much as he's used to just like throwing his political weight around, and you do not.
I guess, but that's something that, like, Orm would have taken that before he became big time, and now he's like, no.
It's kind of like a cat. They're just used to being able to bite you and suffer no consequence.
Right, and so I feel the need to do something about that. I mean, of course I didn't do anything about it at the time, but all I remember saying was, "What did you say? What did you say?" But I feel like that needs some playtime, figuring out what's happening with Tyr, because basically we've got a hive of scum and villainy going on in Tyr now. What with the where is it? House Eilon with run by Hemir, which is basically a private military corporation, organized crime cartel.
Yeah.
And that's us. Like, we decided to put that in there.
And you also invited the elves in.
Ah!
Well, I don't see a big problem with that. Of course, the locals will, but
I do.
So those fast coin elves are going to move right on into the Elven Market District.
Those goddamn dead tree humpers.
oh my god.
What the frick is this picture? I cannot
So-
find the elf.
I've seen the one you're talking about. A bunch of people were sort of like mocking it. It's not so bad. It's it is what it is. Well, there's a bunch of new art that came out with the new rules, and so they have like one page. It's got a bunch of orcs, but they look real suspiciously ethnic. And then there's another.
Listen, orcs have always been suspiciously ethnic.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I
mean,
mean, like they look Mexican. Like they're wearing like little Mexican hats.
Mexican?
Yeah, it's
What?
Kind of,
it's a little weird.
In the chat above when you're talking.
Oh, hold on.
I'm not opposed to it. Like orcs can look any which way you want. It's a game of imagination.
Are you talking about this picture in Discord?
They've been reimagined many ways. Look at that little hat on the right. You see that hat?
All right. Well, he does have kind of the hat and a mustache.
He
Okay.
does. He could be Machete.
And the cactus.
He
and
could
the
be
cactus.
Danny Trejo in D&D as an orc.
I guess they've always been ethnic, but usually it's been ethnic in like a bad sense, or at least like that's kind of it. It was sort of accidental, but also sort of purposeful, and like they're evil barbarian baddies.
I've
And
never
This is kind of just the same principle in reverse.
Well,
I've
Bart,
never
I
seen
mean,
them like that. They've always been like animal dudes, pigmen in my imagination.
in my imagination, I imagine them like 40k orcs like all the time.
I always did before, but then I kind of, especially after watching 13th Warrior, where like they thought that they were beasts, but when you pull off the masks, that's just what they wore to instill fear in the enemy.
Yeah.
Like, so I kind of get the idea that, well, maybe some of them are putting on masks, like, you know, samurai masks that make them look terrifying, but underneath they're still, you know, humanoid.
I just imagine them as big, British, and dumb. I'm sorry. They're always they always have to be British.
I imagine them like in Lord of the Rings, where they're super evil and murderous.
Man, Lord of the Rings orgs are pretty
boring.
cool.
That's boring.
I only know Lord of the Rings orgs from Shadow of War. I'll play that game to death.
If
Yeah.
all you want are mindless murder marauders, go freaking down into the abyss and dredge up some trenches.
Well, no, if you look in the books and the monster manuals where they have the high-level orcs, they're all, like, extremely religious, and they've got a whole bunch of spells because they worship, like, Grumsh or whatever, so they're, like, pretty hardcore. They've got, like, religious zeal, they've got military organizations. They're not just evil. They're evil in, like, the we'll conquer you as, like Attila the Hun and the hordes would conquer you.
There is definitely a Mongol influence. I generally I like them as an aspect of, like, how do I put this? Like, I'm just gonna use Warhammer term actually because it's mostly destruction, you know, with like ogres and goblins and whatever. Like just like the mundane crisis for the entire planet, or potential crisis anyway.
Yeah. In Warhammer, if an orc gets on your planet, it's over. Exterminatus.
I mean,
Yeah.
you could just use a flamethrower.
So the orcs, when they bleed, their blood creates more orcs. So when you fight the orcs, there are more orcs, and then you have to fight those orcs, and it creates even more orcs.
They're just muscly funguses. You just have to like
fungi.
Or orcs.
just
Curious.
you just have to like purge any area you find them in with like freaking fire and start over.
Yeah, flamethrowers.
That is an insanely broken ability.
Uh-huh.
I mean,
Well,
it is, but also they're really
they're-
bad at cooperation, so they kind of take care of themselves a lot of the time.
They're like the comedy version of the Tyranids, you know, where
I mean, basically.
yeah, where I mean they're a photosynthetic, somewhat sentient fungus that likes to kill.
They're a fungus?
Yep.
They're fungus human. It's not clear in fantasy where they came from. If you work with 40k, presumably like the big ancient lizard people made them,
Yeah.
and then couldn't get rid of them, and they just stuck to their ships when they went to this world.
Made them as a bioweapon. That's the key point there.
Well, but also
Yeah.
what's hilarious is they're all like mildly psionic. So if they believe that the car will go faster, it does. There are like cars that have no engines, but because they really believe in that bucket of bolts that it just drives.
Yep.
I don't think it always goes that far. It's more.
Oh,
just
yeah.
Like it'll force along the process enough.
If
Well,
enough
the
orcs
humans
believe it, it
gonna
will
have that-
happen.
The human's gonna have that too with the machine spirit being prayed to.
Isn't there like an orc who's what's it called? Like everyone thought he was like so strong and so cool, and so he actually became so strong and so cool.
Yeah, that
It's
makes
an-
sense for the orcs. That would happen.
It's an
Yeah.
exponential thing. But,
They do say it does have limits though. Like that guy, what's it called? He did get killed somehow. So then because they couldn't make him invincible no matter how much they thought he was.
Yeah. Let me think here. There was-
Maybe if there was enough orcs.
Thing is, the orcs are kind of like there is a,
Terrible
the
everybody.
orcs existed in the fantasy world for like thousands of years and never got anywhere. They were just they just lived in little caves by themselves, beating each other up because the planet had such high enough authority present, like with the elves and the dwarves and all that, that whenever they showed up, they just get freaking kicked to the curb. And it was only after essentially Elf Darth Vader ruined everything that the dwarves were all vulnerable, and then some freaking rats unlocked a miniature nuke, and everything just went to crap, and then they took.
Your explanation is pretty interesting.
It's a time. I can send you a little doc on it. It makes it like abridged, although even that's like 50 pages long.
But the abridged like some rats found the nuke. but I want to return us real quickly to D&D again. So, is there any chance of us cleaning house, especially after? Okay, so cleaning up House Eilon was something that I was gonna try and do at one point, but then it's like,
What do you mean clean them up? Because they work for you.
right, sort of, but
I
it's
mean,
a
they are
bunch of-
pirates.
right. So that's the thing. It's like, if I can get them to be more upstanding and like not, you know, maybe murdering, pillaging, taking off the top for themselves, like,
all the fun stuff.
yeah.
You need to send them to church to be re-educated. They'll multi-class into fire
my
cleric.
Gosh.
What are you
I-
doing, brother?
I do have my band of Persona 5 miscreants that I could probably send to do something.
You could have Ringsight just like go into their brain and like rewrite their brain.
Yeah, I'm not really.
Can I call it
Yeah.
like a bunch of?
Don't want to go
Mind
there.
rape them for me?
No, I don't
Hey
think I will.
Ninja, this might sound crazy, but how many favors would I have to cash in to try to get someone assassinated, like a high political figure in tier?
How
That's
many
not
what?
hard.
How
So
many
talk
what
to
would
me.
you?
Well, mostly you just need to hire a bard to do it. Like the bards are the Assassin's Guild.
We
Like, I want
probably
to make sure it goes as flawlessly as possible. How many would I have to? How many
But
would
to
I-
go after a nobleman, we're talking like you're gonna have to hire somebody really skilled with a high price tag. So it would be expensive, and they might fail.
Well, could we do that? Okay, who is it? It's in tier?
It's a secret. Just know that you hear
It's a
randomly, oh yeah,
secret?
and- yeah,
Man.
such and such died. So by mysterious means. And I'm just silent as you guys discuss how that could have happened. It was me.
No. We can be telepathic to each other. No one can hear. Who
I know.
do you want dead? Because
a lot of people.
what? God damn it!
I feel like there's more artful solution to this than just stabbing them.
Well, yeah, that's actually a problem too. Is because we talked about this last time with the three main noble houses, right? As Ninja pointed out, it's kind of a situation of Game of Thrones, where there's a bunch of shitty people that we've all got to get to work together. Otherwise, this project called Tyr falls apart.
Hang on, let me check the insights of the incredible Carl Franz. Maybe he has some insight. Let's see here. Ah, here it is. There it is. We just have to use this strategy here. That I posted it.
From what historians and scholars could understand, Karl Franz used a political tactic that would ensure that the agreement would be mutually acceptable by both parties. With his superior understanding of current politics, the Emperor won many victories by giving the people not what they wanted, but what they did not want the others to have.
So I shouldn't kill him?
Okay, so we give Vildine
Well, I think
Tirthani
he'll
a
done.
bunch of mercantile things because Minther wants to win by mercantile ideas, and we give Minther a bunch of slaves because the Tirthani wants to have conservative longing for days of glory long past. Of
No, we give
Slave-
them what they want other people to not have.
that's exactly what I just said because
Oh.
it's what the opposite one wants. That's kind of what I'm just trying to do here. Turax, I don't know what Turax is like specializing in, except for the fact of pissing me off.
We give him death.
But again, so I'm ready to give him death. I'm ready to go ahead and just do that just off back. But if we take out the head, another one rises.
We just have to convince.
Yeah, but we can control who that is. That's
We just have to convince them that our decisions will negatively impact everyone except them.
I kind of like Sia's idea that like we need to go ahead and groom somebody in House Turax.
Let's just get Drake.
Actually, I like that idea. Who do we insert instead?
Well, that's going to be
Eh?
an NPC that as yet does not exist, but I want to give you some time on that, Ninja, and start thinking. What?
What do you want about?
It could be me. Could be me.
Oh, you're
What?
It's not gonna work.
You're not born of his seed. He's not going to say, "Oh, my long lost."
Well, I mean, if
son,
all the kids are dead,
soul."
do it then.
Wait,
Hang
what'd
on.
you say?
Can someone tell if I'm mind reading them if they're asleep?
If they're asleep, probably not.
What would I get out
Oh,
of
shucks.
standing there sleeping for?
You'd get their weird dreams. Probably not super useful.
Perhaps I could guide the dream to find out. This is the Somnium files now, actually. I'm gonna guess none of you know what those are.
And
don't.
now he's training to become a dream rider hag or something.
What? No, it's just Inception. It's different.
Oh,
I'm just
never mind.
thinking, like, why talk to your political enemies who are obviously just going to do some bullshit to make sure that if they go down, you go down with them. When you can just take them down, and everyone else is also going to take you down, and now there's no more House Turek.
Okay, well, but the problem is there's a whole infrastructure that supports House Turax.
Yeah, systems are a lot harder to get rid of than people. We can keep stabbing the leaders all we want, but that's not
Right.
going to actually change their
That's why we
structure.
need to put someone else in a leader position that we don't
Yeah,
have
we
to
need
have.
that, but we're back here again.
Well, right, but didn't okay. To use Ninja's example, didn't well, was it the Lannisters basically? Well, that was the name. The Lannisters like got rid of one, to put another one in their stead, right? Got rid of one leader, another one in their stead, and was it Littlefinger or something? I don't even know. Point is that we need to groom somebody from the inside who everyone inside is going to go ahead and agree with, or at least enough. It's like it's not crazy enough, as opposed to just having this foreign guy come in and say, "Oh, I'm your king now." I'm like, well, but
Do we know
I'm
enough
not
about
my
his?
dad.
Do we know enough about his men besides him? Like,
Wait,
what is
hang
he
on.
sounds like?
Let's ask a question of Ninja. How many children does this dude have?
Just make it up, right?
I think all the noblemen probably have pretty big families. It's not specified in the book, but we know at least Turthani. He's older, and his son does most of the business dealings with the party in the past. So you know for a fact that there's sort of a lineage going on there.
Right. So we need to, and we can help use AI to make some NPCs for this or whatever. But the point is that
Yeah, I can generate some other nobles.
How long would it take to assassinate his whole family?
God, we've been over this. We can't do this.
What if we just murdered that entire wing of the government?
That's what I'm saying.
That's what
No.
you're saying. Yes, that's what you're saying.
Well,
If-
somebody has to be in charge of the manpower, right? Like,
Right. That's like saying, what if we just took out California?
Ninja, what's my
Roll,
cult
roll.
best equipped to do?
I didn't catch that. Repeat.
Sorry.
What are my little cultists best equipped to do? Like what tasks do they particularly excel in?
Well, as wind clerics, I imagine their tasks usually involve, I don't know, vacuuming?
Oh my
I
gosh.
did not create a cult to have a system of freaking maids. I'm not insert cult leader here.
What would a wind priest do? They run a taco stand, give everybody gas.
Oh my god. But
Okay, they
all right.
serve the god of freedom. Okay, what do they do then?
They build wind turbines.
No. That's dumb.
Wind-powered mills. Windmills.
Let me just check what Tempest clerics do. That'll freaking help me.
Now, I think that's probably it. Building windmills would be the ultimate obsession of a wind priest.
I kind of like your cleaning service idea. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, they can blow the dust away into the gutters, or they can suck it into a bag.
I'm obsessed with you now. I did not create a cult to have a fucking army of broom handlers.
Hot air balloon rides.
No, no, no. We need more lemon pledge.
Okay, what is their most useful common skill?
Okay, seriously though, the biggest use for wind priests would probably be on the Silt Sea to push the sails.
Oh, that's a thought.
I'm surprised no one got that joke. What's the best use for a wind priest? Blow job.
Ha!
Okay, so for the notes, we're talking about. Okay, so we are well, this is for the downtime. After this, okay, we're going to look into which heirs to House Turax.
I never said it was House Turax.
Wait,
I am. They're the
what
ones I want to take down. What? Well, who are you trying to take down?
Yeah.
Oh my fucking god!
All of the above.
What are Grimoire's clerics good at? What are his minions good at doing?
Burninating all the peasants.
Yeah, fire clerics are kind of dangerous. They like to set fire to things.
Okay, but like they're like honored around the town, so they must be doing something of actual use.
Burning the dead.
That is not.
Well, they've got to smelt something, for the iron. So maybe there's something going on with that.
Okay, besides their elemental duties, what do they do?
Worship.
Right. You know what? For health
Temple
reasons,
stuff.
no,
Prayer.
but for health reasons, you might want to, burn out the disease and things. So yeah.
I think they make magic items as well.
Okay, wait, I got it. I know how to ask a question. My clerics are not just wind clerics. They serve the god of freedom. Therefore, what do they do all day?
Move, travel around.
Pilgrimages.
To do what?
Whatever else wants.
They would just go where the wind takes them, right?
Well, man, elemental priests are actually kind of boring.
That's what you're supposed to decide, not Ninja.
They could be gathering information. Maybe they could find old ruins.
That's what I've been having them do, but I assume they'd have there'd be I don't know, cultist actions or something.
Okay, do you want Heaven's Gate going on, or what do you?
No.
Are we trying to?
Now I feel like I'm being unfair.
All right, now.
Whenever I brought it up, I'd be like, "Oh yeah, your cultists get the information," and it feels like I'm using them wrong somehow because the information's always freaking lame. All right, not lame, but less than as what I expected.
Okay, so we need to look and see which possible heir might be the best to institute as a new head of the house, and that's what we're going to start grooming them on.
Indeed.
Okay, so that's a thing. As far as okay, there's another thing that I wanted to get out, and that was with the spies we have in Balak, and well, we don't want to hurt Nibende, actually. We don't have to worry about Uruk either. They're kind of chilled out. They're not trying to gun for Tyr badly right now, I guess.
Well, after the first war against Uruk, they were repelled, and they haven't attacked since. Hamanu might be busy with other things in the region because there's so much unrest and civil war going on in the northern part of the Tablelands. He might be more interested in the other kingdoms along the road to the east from his kingdom.
So Rom, you're talking about.
Rom and Dradge. Dradge is out there too, and Dradge is always at war with everybody, trying to steal slaves from any other sorcerer kings, and so that's another potential threat he could be targeting.
Why haven't they all just blown him up?
They're each equally powerful. They each command huge armies. They also probably have an unwritten agreement that they won't mess with each other.
He's actively breaking that agreement right now.
What do you mean?
The one who's just robbing all of them.
Well, no. Abalak Ra from Rom is dead, so her kingdom's up for grabs.
Well, see, now that's the thing. I have 12 spies. I put 1,000 CP, well, 10 gold piece, I guess, and a month worth of spy building. I have the most spies in Rom, trying to work on stabilizing, because I was hoping that might, maybe not in my lifetime, but become a tier, a free city. So I don't know if we can work on humanitarian efforts, stabilizing the region, but that would be a goal of Orin, trying to beat back Hamanu's agents and try to stabilize the area for Rom.
Yeah. So Rom probably has, like, the merchant houses are in control. They're fighting each other. They're probably also fighting the slave takers from Dradge and Hamanu's agents, which would be doing the same thing that you're planning, which is to infiltrate and create stability, but then be in control of that.
Right. So basically, we're having spy war, spy versus spy against Hamanu's Templars. In Rom.
Yeah. The party actually knows one of the Templars. He used to be a party member.
Oh. Huh.
Like Psychofrog's old character.
Oh. That's not what I thought you were going to say. Okay, I don't know if any of that is worth putting on table time with, spy versus spy action in Rom. I don't know if you like to do anything with... maybe I need to write stuff up for that.
Yeah, write some stuff up for that, and I'll come up with some stuff too. It's something that's going to require some planning and plotting.
Okay. And then the same thing for going to mess up House Revere and Balak.
Yeah, that's a whole adventure, going to Balak. The party's never gone there.
Androponis is kind of like one of the lesser Sorcerer Kings at this point, it seems.
Yeah, he's middle of the road, maybe. He's not as threatening as the other ones. He's, kind of...
his own stuff, just wants to raise his army and...
Well, right now he's pretty upset about the whole slave situation, because Tyr isn't kicking in their 1,000 slaves per year.
So he has to give of himself, otherwise Boris will take it.
Right. So all of the other kingdoms have to chip in slaves, extra slaves, to make up for the ones that Tyr isn't providing. And that could be one of the things that Hamanu is doing in Rom, is maybe trying to capture some extra people to ship away instead of his own.
I would like... Now, also... How the frick are all of these thousands of slaves getting across the Silt Sea to Boris?
Well, the Sorcerer Kings have hidden methods. Maybe they teleport them.
Well, I would like to be able to free the slaves after they've been captured, before they get to Boris. There's a way to do that. Like,
can the slave be... all those like elf raiders that are out in the wild that we keep finding?
Sacrifice the Elven Raiders as their slaves
That could be,
to Boris?
if you could catch them. Tyr is a free place, though. You wouldn't take slaves in Tyr. It's against the law.
They're not slaves. They're just criminals that were sacrificed instead of sending them to the fire god.
All right.
Wait. So you're trying to appease Boris? Oh, I guess.
Instead of sacrificing our free citizens, sacrifice some like random raiders who are just killing innocent people and pillaging stuff.
Collecting 1,000 of them alive would be tough, though.
That would be challenging.
Yeah.
That would cause us to have to do the same thing that Hamanu is doing.
Yeah.
Like, go make bans saying, hey, are you a criminal? You are now. Guess what? You just got sentenced to death to go be eaten by Boris.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. That's not a good outcome for most people.
Okay. And your concern is that if we don't send anything to Boris, he's going to come here himself and take Tyr.
Well, so far it's just been the other sorcerer kings like Androponus who have been threatening Tyr with his warriors. To them, Tyr is probably like Ram, where it's like a city they want to take for themselves because they don't consider anybody in Tyr to be like legit, like an actual ruler.
Okay, so another thing is maybe this needs to be done with like a bunch of obsidian, but we need to have some kind of huge make Tyr into like a warded fortress against the Sorcerer Kings. Something that maybe Sadira could help with. Maybe we put a bunch of mirrors around everywhere and it shines the light of the sun from every which way. I don't know.
The giant mirror weapon? That would be cool.
Yeah. I think it would be cool to get into glass making and, just have these lenses and just use the power of the sun.
You already have a giant pyramid in the middle of Tyr. You could put the lens on top of it and use magic to rotate it and aim it.
Prism tank reporting.
You probably only shoot within the city. Maybe just over the wall.
Well, that's all we need anyway, is to keep ourselves...
It'd be good next time a Tarrasque attacks.
Well, yeah, here we go. So we're going to go ahead and make a super weapon, a super laser, with like 5 or 8 concentric lenses that all point to the ziggurat and then pew pew in some kind of beam of death.
If it's dark, we can use like daylight magic or something as the mirrors.
Maybe we can make magical solar batteries that are are spaced along the walls of Tyr. So how does this work in game? Is this going to be us kind of trying to find out where we can source materials? Or is it just going to be a question of cost? Or is it a question of authorship and writing it up?
Because sand is everywhere. We can make glass.
All of it. It might not even be possible to make like a giant lens that you could burn people with. It's a very difficult thing. You'd need to find like the right craftsman. So there'd be like a bit of a quest involved to find the right person to make it. And then it might not even be something you can construct in a regular building. You might need to like construct a special building for crafting the lens, special furnace for crafting it. You would need to source the materials, so that would be hiring people and a certain amount of time passing for everything to be built.
Alright, well I might come back in, but I think I need to separate myself from talking for a bit.
Okay.
Okay, well I can call it for the night too. But if there's some kind of so sourcing the obsidian, that might be like a big trek from here to the Road of Fire with the dwarves over in is it Charvas or something like that, because they were dealing in House Mackay, I think it was.
Yeah, the dwarves out there, they were mass producing obsidian spheres for somebody.
So we kind of want to stop them from doing that.
Well, I think they were doing it for Nibene, so it was all right.
Okay. Well, we also would like to have obsidian used to make some kind of anti sorcerer king. Okay. How can we defend against Boris? It's impossible, but as much as possible, we're trying to defend against sorcerer king intervention. So.
It's tough. He's a gigantic dragon. He's extremely powerful, a super high level, he has every spell. He's the big bad that, you know, is supposed to be the end goal that you probably can't overcome.
Well, he basically runs Athos, right?
If anybody could overcome him, it would have been done by now, and nobody's done it in thousands of years. None of the sorcerer kings at their power level have even thought of doing it. Like they're like level 40 with multiple artifact level items, and they're like, could I do it? I don't think I could do it.
Yeah.
However, maybe if they had teamwork, they could.
So if we rallied all the sorcerer kings to take down Boris.
That's a tall order, though. If you could make a whole bunch of Avengians, that might work.
All we really need to do is just make Tyr not worth his while, right? Like,
but how could you do it? Currently, he doesn't care so much. He only cares about his payment, his tribute. When he doesn't get his tribute, he gets enraged. And all the Sorcerer Kings live in terror that an enraged Boris will come across the Silt Sea and wreck their entire civilization. But the super high-level enemies can be defeated using a combination of equally high-level creatures. Like when the Sorcerer Kings ganged up on Dragoth, they were able to take him out instantly, like one shot. But he was caught unaware, and they were using super high-level spells. And they all attacked him by surprise, and he didn't have all of his stuff ready, and they were able to counter all of his contingencies. Except for one. The fact that his minions dragged his corpse down and resurrected it as an undead Dracolich. Nobody saw that coming. That was a twist they didn't expect.
okay, I will just write this down that we're going to try and get Obsidian wards from House Mackay.
A ward to keep Sorcerer King powers at bay? Is that what you're saying?
Something. I don't know why Obsidian would help with that. Except
It wouldn't.
all about...
They can actually channel their power through Obsidian. It would make them stronger.
Okay, so we don't want Obsidian. We want the opposite of Obsidian.
When they're casting their highest level magic, they need huge orbs of Obsidian to hold all the power. They're great batteries of necrotic energy.
So is there an opposite? Is that something that...
Probably like a Psi Crystal. Psi Crystal is like close to a living stone, whereas like the Obsidian is like the stone of death and necrosis.
Okay. I wonder if Desverendi be able to help us with how we could. What if we turned people into crystals?
And then get a bunch of the members of the Order to turn themselves into crystal?
Huh.
I don't think they'd agree to that.
No, but might be a good way to the rest of your life force in before you die. You know, defend the walls of Tyr into eternity. Was. Okay. Well, so hold on. So, psi crystals are the opposite of obsidian, sort of, in that they are living energy, and obsidian is necrotic. Okay, and defiling. Okay, so psi crystals would be good because they can't be defiled. You're just having a bunch of trees around would make it easier for the defiler to use that for themselves. The psi crystals might be the way to go.
Katz is up in the chat complaining that your audio is too low. He's saying I'm drowning you out. I got you at 150% Discord. I don't know what's up with that.
Sorry, I don't know. Let me check my connection. I don't know. I wiggled my mic.
Yeah.
But I think I'm the last one in here, I guess. Oh, Taro's here. Not Taro. I mean, Jared's here.
Is Long
But
here?
not.
Long's with family. He's probably pretty
Okay.
distracted. See, you might have fallen asleep on us.
We've been playing.
Kinda. We're doing future things that'll happen during a downtime after this adventure that will involve attempting political stuff in various other kingdoms. So that was gameplay in a roundabout way.
What does it take to make psi crystal?
You can't make it. You have to find it.
What?
It's like crystal that exists in the world that just has natural psionic properties, and then you mine it.
So it's not really found anywhere necessarily in greater quantities. Like you mine
Well,
it.
there would be like a specific cave you could find that would have a whole bunch of psi crystal in it, and maybe Psionicus would be capable of finding them. Finding like little nodes and pockets of psi crystal that they could harvest. And then in the deep underground there would be like really big caves of it.
Okay, what if we made frickin' the walls of Tyr out of psi crystal?
That would be incredibly expensive. But it would work. It would. You could definitely use a psi crystal to hold all sorts of defensive magic.
So I think that's kind of where we're going.
Maybe not the whole wall, but you could put a large psi crystal at every tower on the wall that could project some
Right.
sort of defenses.
Okay. Because we're kind of, we can go in two directions with our efforts here. We can try to rally people around and do the collective push against a united front against Boris, or we can try to just hole up in our own little area, you know, make a vault basically about Tyr, and try to sequester ourselves off from the rest of the tablelands.
The defensive or offensive strategy.
Yeah.
Well, Tyr is going to need some trade, otherwise they'll get a little bit too cut off. And also having trade routes means that infiltrators can get in, like the Urdraxans got in that way.
Yeah.
But without trade, you would lose a lot of certain materials that you need. Tyr's good because they've got iron, but they don't have access to a whole lot of wood.
And that comes from Nibene especially.
Yeah, Nibene or... yeah, there's over the mountain, but nobody makes that trek. There's not really a good way to transport the wood from up over the mountain back down into Tyr, even though, as the crow flies, it's technically a much shorter path to wood, but it's so much vertical that it doesn't work out in any way that's like economically viable yet. But
Yeah.
if you build your airships and they have a good carry capacity, you could maybe do it. And just have like airships that bring lumber from the other side of the mountain.
On the one hand, that would be. I would imagine there's not a whole lot to fight against there. Maybe the Kyr. Other than that, like there's not a whole. There wouldn't be organized threats living in the mountains that we know about that would try to come after our air assets. But on the other hand, I imagine there wouldn't get very much wood because it's an airship. It has to float, so it's not going to be able to carry that much.
Well, it's magic, right? So, Krios has a fire priest that is inflating the balloon part of it, and there's like other magic involved, like the airship design in the book that I got it from says that it's got like some sort of like levitation engine that negates a lot of its weight. The actual listed carry capacity is stupid. It's like 100. It's like 50 tons or something like that. It's a
What?
huge number.
That's got to be some like dimensional, extra dimensional space type stuff.
No, it just uses like
A floater stone from Final Fantasy.
what's that thing called? Like the Tensor's floating disk or something like that, where it
Yeah.
can support a huge weight.
Okay. All right. So, we'll do that then. That could be something we look for. But so does that mean we're trying to become self-sufficient?
Well,
Like-
that could be one of your goals.
Is to
You could improve your army too. You noticed during the war with Uruk that you had to deal with all of these senators, and their armies were of varying strength, and their equipment was pretty shoddy. So another way to improve Tyr's defenses would just be crafting a lot of better equipment for your troops, which might be a part of the takeover of Traxxas's family and his armies. He's got quite a few people in his employ, but I think they were just spearmen in leather armor, right? It was pretty basic.
okay. That's not too bad.
But he had 200 of them, so it was a big chunk of the defenses of Tyr.
Huh.
Kind of makes me wonder what they do as a day job. Are they just guards throughout the city? Like watching his plantations, or what?
Well, okay, so one more thing, I guess. With the thieves that I have on the thieves tab, it says that you get this many contacts, right? For carousing, you get this many like assets, basically.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, can I interpret that as levels, and then just say, okay, I've got like 1/4 level spy in the military, 1/4 level spy in the Wavir merchant liaison.
The favors you get from carousing aren't really like something you could
These-
compare to levels. It's just an NPC that you know that you can probably convince them to help you in some way.
Yeah.
So it's
Well,
just a
this
social
is-
thing.
This is more of the building spy network type of stuff.
Yeah.
And so it is finding people that I could convince to. You're right.
For a spy network, you'd probably like be able to get information from people, but I don't know.
Okay. if there were NPCs that worked for me, I'd have to pay.
They're unlikely to be skilled and leveled people.
Right. Okay.
However, they might be in a position that's influential. Like a lot of Sia's contacts are Templars in the noble district of Tyr, so if he needs to get something like a housing permit or whatever, he knows the housing permit guy, and he can go to the housing permit guy and say, hey, remember that time that we partied and you owe me a favor? Could you like stamp this so I can buy this building in town? And he'd be like, yeah, sure thing, here you go.
Okay. All right, well... Okay, well... most, if not all of these, I have looking out for opportunities, you know, artifacts that I could steal for my cause, you know, for the Veiled Alliance cause, in all these places. So let that be a thing that is maybe a hook for later. You know, the ones in Rom could be, oh, we know who these, it's this whole enclave of Urukite Templars that are working on a big push and they're going to try and take us out. You know, we need help. You know, something like that. Or
conflict.
Or maybe if it was in Balak, you know, hey, we figured out who killed your brother. I don't know. Okay, so I'll leave it at that.
Are your spies mostly trying to gather information about those places currently? Or are they actively doing stuff?
Well, based on what you said, see, I had it under the impression, and it was too broad of an impression. All I have are contacts. I don't have NPC spies that are under my employ, right? It's just people that I know. So what I need to do is get to the point where I actually go, you know, hire level spies to do stuff, right? These guys are just living their lives, but then sending the information, you know, if something big comes along, I've given them all little sending stones and they can go ahead and let me know that, hey, such and such is happening. You may want to stop by.
You need a bard. I should set up a thing where Sol and Orin go to the Bard's College and try to hire some assassins and spies and things like that. You could acquire several people with the skills you're looking for at a place like that.
Well, that's kind of what I was hoping to talk to Jared about today, was like there should probably be some togetherness with what we've got going on. Like we've got a lot of plot influencing stuff here, of our investments here, right? Other people invested a lot in their characters and magic items. We've invested a lot in plot influencing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think he's not here anymore though. So we're gonna.
He chimes in occasionally, but I think it's just snoring.
Is he asleep?
Storybook hour. Lulled into sleep with D&D stories.
Okay, well, I don't know. I guess I don't have anything else right now.
And Kat says your audio has been better too, so that's good to know.
Hey, Cats. Love you.
Yeah, this has been not so much a D&D game as planning for future D&D games and hanging out. Happy 4th of July.
Happy 4th of July.
Tomorrow's going to be fun. There's going to be some fireworks. My neighborhood's having like a little golf cart parade where everybody's dressed up their golf carts with like 4th of July you know, like decorations, and they're all going to like drive through the neighborhood, and ATVs and golf carts and motorbikes and things.
Nice.
And I live by the river, and they're always doing fireworks down here every year, so it's going to be a fucking war zone. Explosions everywhere.
I bought $100 of fireworks just an hour ago. 2 hours ago, whatever.
Can you buy good stuff where you're at? Like, some states don't let you buy anything good.
There's a lot of, yeah, oh yeah, they get mortars and stuff, but it was all 3 coupons I used to try and get better amounts of stuff. But We hang out with some other teacher friends, and it's a good time.
Yeah. 4th of July may be one of my favorite holidays. I always love fireworks and hot dogs and
Yeah,
cookouts and summertime. It's all good.
it is good.
All right. Well, that's the game. Thanks for watching out there in Twitch land. My 3 viewers. I'm 1. Katz is 1. I don't know who the other guy is. I see you.
That should be me.
That's you? All right. We're watching ourselves.
Is it W Hedden?
I can't actually... Can I see? Wait.
What? Why is it? Oh, I'm not logged in. That's the problem. It won't show you until I log in, I guess.
Nah, I think it's just like the auto viewer. It's like a bot. Make sure you're not screaming the N-word. We're good boys. We don't do that.
Yeah. Oh, here it goes. Okay.
And stream.